Welcome to the Infamous Source with your host, Gregory Thompson. I'm here to break down the 2012 NFL Draft, share a few of my opinions and predictions and rankings, and give you guys some logical explanations on a lot of the draft selections. First up, the Colts. I got them taking Andrew Luck. I think this is a pick that we all know. We know it immediately, basically since the end of last season, especially I said once the departure of Peyton Manning. So was with Andrew Luck off the board. We got the Washington Redskins, who gave up three first-round draft selections. I think they did this, and I think they're going to order to select RG3, who I think is a good fit. I think both of these guys are actually a good fit. Especially going to the markets that they're going to. I like RG3 more. I see more of the upside with him. He kind of reminds me of McNabb, McNair, Steve Young type of quarterback. He's got more upside. But, the flip side to that coin is I think Andrew Luck will be ready to play and be more effective immediately. For one, he's going to a weaker division, and he doesn't need as much talent. RG3, I think he needs more talent. He's got a tougher division. He's got tougher players going. You got the DeMarcus Wares, the Pierre Pauls, the Trent Coles, etc. And then, he needs more talent. And with no first-round selections for the next couple of years, it's going to be tough on him. So I think at the end, I think he'll be the probably better pro. But I think he's going to struggle early, and I think Andrew Luck will be more effective early. Okay. What I think the draft is going to unfold will be with the third selection with the Minnesota Vikings. Due mainly because Leslie Frazier, Coach Leslie Frazier, he wants to go more with a skill position here. They can use offense or defense here. You can go Blackman, or Morris Claiborne. I see them going Morris Claiborne. The reason why is because the key is you got to win your division. And Morris Claiborne said these guys were last in the league in interceptions. And you're going to need somebody to defend Brandon Marshalls, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelsons, Calvin Johnson. So, I think Morris Claiborne would be the pick there. Next pickup, I got the Cleveland Browns. The worst team in the red zone last year. So I think this pick is going to be Trenton Richardson for numerous reasons. For one, you got Pat Shomer and Mike Holmgren, and, these guys, they like to run the ball. I like Justin Blackmon with this pick. He's my favorite offensive player in the draft. But, with the history, these guys like to run the ball. Pat Shomer with Steven Jackson, they just ran it pretty good a couple of seasons ago when they had Peyton Hillis. And, even a former Alabama back, Sean Alexander. So, this way they can take the receiver later compared to if they took the receiver now. They're not going to get a guaranteed sure shot at the running back. So I see Trent Richardson here. Next pickup, I got the Tampa Bay Bucks. So now this pick's going to surprise a lot of you. I got him taking Fletcher Cox. I know he's not the highest, but outside of those top five guys, Fletcher Cox was the next guy, and I'm a firm believer. The first quarter draft basically picks 1 through 8. You got to take a need as well as the best player available. And these guys need a guy like Fletcher Cox. They've been trying to address it, but they just haven't been able to hit with the guys they've been picking. And I think this guy will definitely do it. These guys were the worst against the run. These guys were last in the league getting sacks. So I think Fletcher Cox will be the guy here, and it's a smart pick as well. The Rams, you can go two ways here, but it's definitely, it's going to be on the offensive side of the ball. And I see them going either Justin Blackman or Matt Khalil. And Matt Khalil is rated higher, but Jeff Fisher is more of a fan of skill positions, so I see him taking a receiver here. And don't be surprised if it's Michael Floyd over Justin Blackman, just because of the fact Jeff Fisher likes a big receiver, as you've seen with the Kenny Britts and etc. Jacksonville Jaguars is up next. These guys got a ton of holes to fill, new coach, and I think you just go with the best player available. And if Matt Callie's on the board, Matt Khalil, I think that's who they go with. If they go a different option, I got them going Dontari Poe, Quentin Couples, Personally, like I said, I think it's going to be an offensive guy. But if they elect to go defense, I said Poe or Couples or even Ingram. I'm a bigger fan of Quentin Couples. He's actually my favorite defensive player in this draft. I know there's a lot of mentions of him being a bust, but I'm sold on this kid. Uh, Miami Dolphins up next. Uh, these guys need a quarterback and a defensive end. I would select the defensive end because I think it's more of a sure shot with this position. Uh, Nick Perry is a guy I got them taking, or Melvin Ingram, possibly, or even a Quentin Couples because they seem to like big defensive ends. But I see them instead making a reach here and taking Ryan Tannehill. I'm not a big fan of this kid. I don't really like him much. But for the Miami Dolphins, I think it'll be a good choice and selection here due to the fact they can't seem to bring in any guys through free agency. So, unfortunately, when you got to do that, you're going to have to draft a guy, and this is the guy. Unfortunately, they're going to have to pick, and he's going to have to probably sit. But I mean, they have no choice but to be patient if you can't get anybody through the free agency. So one of those two there. Like I said, if they don't go Tannehill, I think they'll go defensive end. So Carolina Panthers up next. They need defense, and they got to address that. And they're going to go defensive end, I believe. See Melvin Ingram or Quentin Couples or even a Nick Perry. Like I said, once again, Quentin Couples is my favorite defensive end in this draft. But I see Melvin Ingram probably being selected here. The Buffalo Bills up next. I know there's a lot of riffraff with the owner made comments about offensive line, but I don't see that happening. Mainly due to the fact, I mean, these guys gave up the least amount of sacks last year. I think it was just a way to kind of, make sure his guy falls to him in the draft. And I see these guys going defense, to win that division. You already, you got Mario Williams through free agency, but you still need to, you got to stop the Bradys and the Sanchez's. And I think you go defense here, Luke Kuechly or a Dante Hightower, possibly. I think a linebacker would be the smart choice here, or even an offensive guy. If you want to go offensively, get somebody along Stevie Johnson, who at times tend to drop balls, so get a more of a big possession guy, and a Malcolm Floyd would be really good here. So, Michael Floyd, sorry about that. Kansas City Chiefs got these guys going nose tackle. Divine Steele, I think, is the favorite. That's the guy I think they'll take. But you could possibly see Michael Brockers or Dontari Poe. So Seahawks up next. With the loss of Tatopu, what they never replace, the bus, Aaron Curry, he's not panning out. I see these guys selecting a linebacker, Luke Kuechly or Levante David or Zach Brown. I know these guys are not worth taking that high, but we've seen Pete Carroll pull the gun, So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they take him here. These guys could use a dominant defensive end as well. So if they choose to go that route, defensive end / linebacker, you see a Courtney Upshaw or possibly even a Nick Perry, because I don't think Quentin Couples will be there that far, but I think if he's there, they'll even take him. So Cardinals, offensive line, I mean, they were terrible in that position last year. These guys need a tackle, but the best player will be David DeCastro, but he is not a tackle. So possibly these guys, I see these guys going Riley Reef or Cordy Glenn or even Mike Adams or even Peter Kynes. These guys need some protection, and they really need it, like I said, on that blind side. But, these guys like Big Ten guys I tend to notice, so I see them going one of those guys. I like Cordy Glenn or David DeCastro more at this spot, but we'll see. Dallas Cowboys, defensive back is a must. I got these guys taking Mark Barron, and a lot of the experts do as well, but if they don't want a safety, I see them going cornerback, a Drake Kilpatrick or a Stephen Gilmore if available. A dark horse is Jamal Fleming, but I mean, that's too early, but just the style they play, and I could see some possibility. Cowboys tend to select guys out of Oklahoma for some reason. So the Eagles up next. Uh, I think these guys want to get deep at the linebacker position. So Luke Kuechly, if he's available, or Michael Kendricks, Levante David, or even a Zach Brown here. These guys they covet speed and they like those smaller style linebackers. But after the loss of the tackle, don't be surprised if they goes to Bree Sanders here or some other tackle. So the Jets is up next. These guys, I know that they struggled defensively last year, but I think they can benefit more if they go with somebody offensively here. I think the defense struggled because the offense, was so inconsistent. So I see these guys going to running back. I know the popular pick here would be Lamar Miller, but I see these guys going with David Wilson out of Virginia Tech. Uh, just due to the fact of his style of play, I think when you look at the film, I think it's something more than Rex Ryan. He wants a guy that that's kind of he kind of reminds me of a young LT. Not exactly that good, but he's the cuts and the guy can be effective in the red zone, the quickness and the catching out of the backfield. So I could see a pick like that, or even a Michael Floyd if you want to, give Mark Sanchez another weapon or so. But if they go defense, I see it going defensive end / linebacker, a guy like a Vinny Curry or a Whitney Marchillis or even a Courtney Upshaw if he's available. But the Whitney Marchillis pick, I believe that's going to be a dark horse pick, and I don't see it happening because these guys took who's that guy, that kid that failed a few years back, the Ohio State kid. It's not coming to me, but he was like a 1-year wonder, great combine, kind of a lot of the same similarities, and I don't see these guys doing that again just because of that kid. Cincinnati Bengals. I see these guys going offensive line here or even safety. Jonathan Martin would be the obvious pick, or Cordy Glenn. But these guys could also go Mark Barron if he's available. For those, these guys don't really need much, so I think they're just looking to address a need with along as the best player available. San Diego Chargers, they need to improve defensively, but they also need to replace Vincent Jackson. So if they go on the defensive end of the ball, I'm going to say Nick Perry or Whitney Marchillis. Melvin Ingram won't be available, so I'm going to go there. And if they go receiver, Mohamed Sanu or Michael Floyd, if Floyd is available. The Chicago Bears. I've seen some extras see these guys got Dontari Poe, because a lot of people don't see these guys taking a receiver after the trade for Brandon Marshall. And Dontari Poe will be a good fit for the system, but I just don't think it's nothing they need, and I just don't think he's the best player available at that spot. So I got these guys taking offensive lineman. One of the kids out of Wisconsin, either a Kevin Zietler or Peter Kynes, or just get a defensive back because it's something that they can use as well. Stephen Gilmore, Casey Hayward, or even Janoris Jenkins. Tennessee Titans, defensive line. It's a position. I said these guys, they lose them constantly. They've been losing them for the last few seasons. The kid they drafted out of Georgia Tech a few years, he hasn't panned out. So I think it's something you got to address. And right here, I see these guys going Jarrell Worthy, Branch, Chandler Jones, or even a Dontari Poe. Whoever's the best player available at the defensive line, I think that's who these guys select here. Cincinnati Bengals are going to be back on these guys once these guys either get the safety or the tackle or guard, whatever, something to prove the offensive line. I think these guys are going to go Lamar Miller here, or like I said, or Mark Barron. Depends on what they select first. If they go another running back outside of Lamar Miller, it probably will be Chris Polk. They might trade down and take him, because he kind of reminds me a lot of a Corey Dillon. So that's what I see with Cincinnati there. The Cleveland Browns. Once they, they're going to stay offense here. They take Trent Richardson. I got them taking Trent Richardson earlier, so I'm going to say Stephen Hill right here. I think he's the best receiver available at this current point. But due to the offense they run, I can see these guys taking Kendall Wright. He's more suited and better fit in the West Coast. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions, my hometown team. Not my favorite team, but my hometown team. Uh, these guys need help at defensive back. They just need help defensively. The defensive line is set, but everything outside of that, the skill positions, the linebackers, the cornerbacks, and they really can need help. And I can see Gilmore if he falls there, but I don't see him being there. So I think you go Janoris Jenkins, but it's a possibility they might even pass on him due to the off-field things and with the current players having off-field issues. So if they do keep the pick, might even make a reach and take a linebacker like a Zach Brown or even a Levante David, a guy, Ndamukong Suh's familiar with, and I'm quite sure he'll be happy to bring in. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be up next. These guys they really need help on offensive line. And after Tim Tebow killed these guys in the playoffs, it's apparent that these guys, they've been it's long overdue for some guys in that secondary with Troy Polamalu, the injuries starting to catch up with them. And so I'm going to say these guys go offensive lineman, Brandon Brooks, or Bobby Massey, Jeff Allen, even the Mike Adams for offensive line. But if these guys get a defensive back, a Draco Patrick would be a nice pick if he's available, or Stephen Gilmore, which I don't think would be available. And as a dark horse is Josh Robinson, because these guys, Pittsburgh Steelers of late, they got more of a new hybrid defense. They're still like guys that's physical, but they also like speed that I've noticed since Mike Tomlin been there. The Denver Broncos is up next, and with Peyton Manning coming on board, I can see them going offense here. Tight end, Stanford, Kobe Flinner, Stanford guy, the John Elway. I can see this pick a lot, but these guys need defense more. They did sign Jacob Tamme, so these guys could get a defensive tackle here, a Billy Wynn, or the Rays kid out of Connecticut, the nose tackle there, or you got Chandler Jones if you want some guy for the defensive tackle spot. But they also need secondary help. Chad Bailey's old, Brian Dawkins retired, so a Josh Robinson or Mark Barron, if available, could also be selected there. Okay, next up, you got the Houston Texans. This is a team, I think they're pretty set in most positions, but they did lose Mario Williams and Eric Winston. So I just thinking they're looking to replace those with the best guy available. So I say either one of the offensive linemen out of Wisconsin or Riley Reef, if available. But if they don't go offense, I could see a defensive lineman, like a slash linebacker, somebody to replace Mario Williams. Which you can't replace a Mario Williams, but somebody to at least fill that gap. And I see a Jared Crick or Tyrone Crawford, Shea McKellen, possibly, or Jarrell Worthy, I think will be a good pick here. But I know there's been reports that they don't like this guy because of the inconsistency. So I'm going to say one of the other guys over them. Next, you got the New England Patriots. These guys struggle defensively. So I think this is going to be their first thing that they take here. I know they got other needs offensively, but I think the defense is something more they need to address. That's the reason they didn't win the Super Bowl. So I'm going to say defensive lineman Chandler Jones or Jared Crick, if available, or either defensive back Casey Hayward or Janoris Jenkins. Janoris Jenkins, I know people say, nah, it's not a New England guy, but when guys go out to New England, they kind of get their act straightened up. And then this kid's a former Florida guy, and they got a history of taking Florida guys. So that's a possible pick. Green Bay Packers, something to go to help the linebacker Clay Matthews, something opposite of him. So I'm going to say Andre Branch, if he's available. Vinny Curry. I said Whitney Marchillis. A dark horse pick, Bruce Irvin. This guy played in 3-4. I mean, he's a short, to the ground guy. He could be that. He reminds me a lot of Robert Mathis. So he's a dark horse pick. I don't see it, but I think he could fit. There's some reason I like this kid. So next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens. These guys need defensive linemen. They lost Corey Redding. These guys are getting old at linebacker. A position that they constantly keep losing. It was Bart Scott, Dallas Thomas, and et cetera. So I see, with the Corey Redding loss, you can either go either way, D lineman or linebacker here. I say Jared Crick, if available, Michael Brockers, even a Rays, the kid out of Connecticut, linebacker Dante Hightower, Ronell Lewis out of Oklahoma. Chandler Jones for a nose tackle. And if they decide to go offense, I just think that they'll probably select Peter Kahns, offensive lineman out of Wisconsin. Matt Burke getting old, and you just lost the loss of Ben Grubb, so I think it could possibly struggle there between the tackles. So it'll be a good thing to feel that. San Francisco 49ers, my favorite team. I think they were the most complete team last season, and I think they just lacked one thing, and that was offensive weapons, receivers, and I think they're looking to keep Alex Smith, keep the progression up, and they signed Randy Moss, but I mean he's a short-term answer, and there's no proving, there's no telling with him, so. You got to bring in a receiver. I see Ruben Randall here, but I also like Brian Quick, but I see him going Ruben Randall. The New England Patriots up again on the board. Like I said, I see these guys, I see them probably trading the pick, but if they, elect to keep the pick, I can see them going Harrison Smith, safety out of Notre Dame. Well, I'm not another kid I'm not big on, but I mean, they just like guys that they can plug in the system. And so that's a possibility. But I think the best player available for these guys would be the nose tackle I said out of Connecticut, or Doug Martin. I think he fits this system well. I just think he would really flourish in his offense and the style of play. On the last pick, you got the Giants. There's been mentioning with Eli calling for it, and the loss of Kareem McKenzie and Manningham, Brandon Jacobs. They want to keep Eli happy. They might stay offensive on the ball. And if the Broncos don't select tight end Kobe Flinter, I can see that being there. Running back Lamar Miller could be a nice pickup here. The running back, the offensive tackle out of Iowa State, I believe his name is Khaleesi O. Yeah, he could be a pick on offense, but if not, if they decide not to go offense, the position they need the most is linebacker, and right there I can see these guys going Levante David, Zach Brown, or like I said, Ronell Lewis. But that's how I got the draft out.